Daryl, we also have another story that you've been working on about unpaid tickets. Tell us about that. Give us a synopsis of it.
Well, really quickly, we were covering this very tragic death of a Virginia couple who were killed in a head-on collision in Kahuku out at by Gunstock Ranch. And the couple, I want to say their names because I want to honor them by saying their names, Ron and Michelle Hartman. They were killed instantly. Their daughter was badly injured. The driver of that other car was a guy named Brennan Kanume. And when I looked into his driving record, I was stunned at how many times he'd been pulled over, how many citations he had, and how many fines he was just ignoring. He had racked up more than $3,000 in unpaid traffic fines.
Wow.
And that's because most of Hawaii traffic offenses are not criminal. You pay it by mail, right? I mean, any of us who've had a ticket, you pay it by mail or you send in a letter, say, no, I didn't do this. And so he only had to go to court 4 times in 11 years, despite being pulled over 20 times. And unless he had to, he didn't pay anything. And so, yes, they stop your license. Yes, they make it hard to register a car, make it hard to get insurance. But I've talked to experts who say there's a lot of people driving like that. And the ultimate end of our research found that more than $80 million accumulated in unpaid citations in the last 11 years. $80 million.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah. I had one lawmaker say, gee, you could build a school with that. And so this is really bringing to light an issue. There's not an immediate solution at hand that anybody can come up with, but it was a fascinating process, and I think that there's going to be some more talk about this.
Yeah, we're looking forward to your report. When does it air? It airs tonight, correct?
It airs tonight, and we will be posting all the material online, too, including you'll be able to see the record, you'll be able to see how the fines accumulated and so on.
Is it, what show is it? Evening, 10 o'clock?
10 o'clock.
10 o'clock show tonight on Hawaii News Now. Tell us, why do you think people should care about this? It seems like it wouldn't be easy to collect the money, but what bigger implications do these unpaid fines have?
The real importance of this story is that we have a system that assumes drivers will care if their credit is affected by, a credit agency, demanding to have money. It assumes that they will care if they can't get a driver's license, because what happens is if you get a citation, you don't pay, eventually they put what's called a stopper on your license, so you can't renew your license. Well, if you don't care about having a driver's license, if you don't care about your credit, if you're in the cash economy, you could still buy a car they expect you to transfer it. So we have experts telling us that there are lots of people driving like this. And imagine, if you don't care if you get a ticket, how are you going to drive? And if you look at Kanamai's record, it got worse and worse and worse, the kind of driving he was doing. And in the end, it's allegedly been fatal. His driving was very dangerous. And the question is, are there a lot of people who just don't care and wouldn't care if they get pulled over, so why should they care if they speed? That puts us all at risk. Mm-hmm.
That leads me to my next question of why would law-abiding citizens, why would this put them in danger?
Well, because these people are driving right next to you. Mm-hmm. Like the poor couple from Virginia. They were in the right place. They were just wrong place for that time. It was just.
And I do remember that story when it happened. It was absolutely tragic. We learned that they were visitors, and it shut down roads on the North Shore. It was a very tragic story, and so I'm glad to see you're following up on the record of this driver and finding what needs to be done to address problems like this. Have there been any solutions or ideas proposed to address this problem?
Well, there's a lot of chat now that I've been talking to people about it, and the real dilemma here is that they decriminalized traffic citations for a reason. They didn't want to have this huge traffic court backlog, and they thought that enough drivers would care about these things like having their license stopped and having fines sent to a collection agency. But it seems that there is a subgroup of people that are just ignoring the traffic laws, and you really can't have that and have everybody be safe. So the suggestions run everywhere from, after you accumulate a certain amount of fines, you're guilty of another criminal case, like a criminal contempt of court. You have ignored the court's order to pay these fines. That would force people into court. Once you force them into court, then what do you do with them? You probably have to make some kind of a deal that you pay your fines over time, or pay this amount of fines. We'll let you get your license back. We'll let you get your world back into the legit category of life. Ideas like that. Also, is the problem that the fines are so big that someone who's poor just can't pay them, and they end up in this situation because they can't pay? Do you criminalize that and put them in jail because they have a debt? It's a very interesting debate that will go on for a while, especially with the legislature looking at it.
Yeah, with putting them in jail, that also leads to the problem of overcrowding in our facilities, which we have been talking about a lot. Lynn Kawano has done some reporting on that. So finding a solution isn't going to be easy is what I'm hearing to this.
It's a dilemma, and it puts progressives up against more conservative approaches to these kinds of things too.
Yeah. What was the hardest part in your journey of putting together this story?
It wasn't really hard. It was more about, it takes a while to get this information. So going through the court records, once you look at essentially a docket on the court's website, you then have to click on every single one of these citations and read the history of it. So it's very time consuming. And then the judiciary is actually quite responsive. I asked them, once I realized he had this huge amount of collections, I thought, how many other people are not paying? And they sent me the list of how much they send to collection agencies, how much they have actually collected, and how much is uncollected. And it runs about 30 to 50% goes uncollected. That's kind of a lot.
A high percentage.
Yeah. So, it'll accumulate at $10, $8, $9 million a year in uncollected fines.
Well, Daryl, we are looking forward to your report tonight. Again, that's airing on Hawaii News Now. We'll also post that on our website for it to live on.